It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Both parties now argue that we can't touch Social Security. We can't touch Medicare. We can't touch Medicaid. The entitlement programs basically have to stay. We don't have the money for it, and it's a Ponzi scheme.
It all started because Trump floated this idea of making cuts to entitlements, which I thought was really stupid of him. And so Biden was like, great. He just gave me an issue to run on because there's a lot of old voters. The very oldest voters were supportive of Biden. And so like Biden's like, you're just giving me a reason to run to get reelected by talking about cuts to Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. So Trump said there's a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting, and in terms of also the theft and the bad management of entitlements, tremendous bad management of entitlements. And so then Biden jumped right all over. He goes, I won't cut Social Security and I won't cut Medicare. Biden said, I will protect and strengthen Social Security, Medicare, and make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share, which I think he would just raise the amount of payroll taxes that the wealthy have to pay. So Ben Shapiro's thought on this one is like, hey, this is an opportunity to tell everyone why I'm right, because that's what matters to some pundits more than anything else, to show how correct they are. And Ben Shapiro goes on to talk about how like entitlements cost a ton of money, which is true. But then he says this.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years. And if you talk to people who are elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working, things go to hell in a handbasket real quick.
First of all, like, look, Ben Shapiro and I have this in common. We write a lot and we talk in front of a camera a lot, which is actually, by the way, a lot of fun, but it's not like I'm a coal miner. And if you're a coal miner or you're working, as a lineman putting up electrical poles, and you're doing all these hard manual labor kind of stuff, building houses, all that kind of stuff, you're going to be doing that when you're 72, 73, 74, 75 years old. Like, give me a break. So I feel like, in the conservative movement, we've had an appreciation over the last 5-6 years. We're kind of rediscovering this appreciation for Mike Rowe and these dirty jobs and the tough things and, hey, difficult jobs, these back-breaking jobs, working on an oil rig. You going to work on an oil rig when you're 74 years old, Ben? I mean, what is he talking about? Like, this stuff is crazy. Now, he does have a point, which is not untrue. So actually, one of my favorites, Richard Nixon, he made the point that a lot of businessmen, they yearn to retire so that they can go to West Palm Beach and golf forever and just go to parties and golf and do, have fun for the rest of their lives. And he says, that just sounds like boring as all get out. Like, have some purpose to your life. So I've seen it. I've seen people who, when they retire, they just kind of, all they do is golf or whatever. And that's kind of dumb. But the real people who, when they retire, they find purpose. So I know somebody who was a school teacher her whole life. Now, what is she doing? She's volunteering at the food pantry. She's volunteering for the high school. She's volunteering for the local Catholic charity. She's finding that purpose in life. But that doesn't mean we should expect people who are 75, 76, 77 years old to continue working. So, gosh, Ben. Now, Matt Walsh makes the point online when it comes to Social Security. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a scam. And it's not, okay, look, you're not wrong. But the point is, when it comes to saying something like this, being 100% right isn't the only thing. It's not the only point. Hey, everybody, I'm right and you are all wrong. Prudence actually requires that you should spend some time and energy to try to actually, I don't know, maybe persuade people. Hey, by the way, I might understand Social Security isn't really the best system ever. Kind of help people and educate them, because the American people have been falsely educated on Social Security their entire lives. They've been paying into this and they say, well, they've been told the lie, hey, I pay into this and then I'll get my money back. I mean, that's just not true. The money that goes into Social Security isn't put into some like bank. It isn't invested. That money is immediately spent on any number of other things. And then 40 years from now, when you retire, you're getting the wages of a 24-year-old. That's how that happens. And it's fine for Matt Walsh to say that. I actually think it's kind of good to educate it, but just understand something that for the most part, you're talking about people who have been paying into this system for 30, 40, 50 years of their life. Every 2 weeks, they're paying into this. And then if you want to try to change systems, people are going to be like, no, wait a minute. When he was running for president, Herman Cain, he's like, we should get rid of the income tax and switch to a sales tax. Like, that is electoral rat poison. Like, what are you talking about? So everyone who paid into Social Security for 50 years and had their income taxed as well on top of that, on top of the payroll taxes, now they're on a fixed income and they're getting money from Social Security. Now you're going to tax them at 15% sales tax. Like, that would be an egregious injustice. You would be, there's no way you would ever get that passed. It's like the dumbest idea. Trump actually was smarter about this in 2016 and 2020. And I hope this idea of floating cuts to Social Security, he's like realizing that's dumb and he backtracks and he says, no. The answer is it has to be a bipartisan blue ribbon commission that comes up with a plan. Like, let's create incentives so that people who want to continue working can, delay receiving Social Security benefits, whatever it takes to keep the system moving. Or raise the retirement age, down the road or something. Look, what has been the story of politics for the last 25 years or so? It's been disaster. Like Hurricane Katrina, that was a total disaster, right? The debacle in Iraq, that was a complete disaster. Joe Biden withdrawing from Afghanistan, talk about a major catastrophe. 13 Marines die. So many things that have just been a complete, utter failure in leadership. So when it comes to something like Social Security and Medicare, which are statutory, like they're set in stone, sort of, anyone wants to tinker with it, and, Americans are understandably like, whoa, wait a minute. We've dealt with Iraq, Afghanistan, Katrina, fentanyl crisis, the border wide open. Why don't you fix some of these other things first before we trust you to fix the entitlements? So you can talk to your blue in the face about how this, the money's going to run out in 15, 20 years, which I get it. It's actually true. But until you can show some competency, like, we have regulatory agencies like the FAA that allowed this Boeing plane to take off.
Yeah,
like,
right, exactly.
The government needs to convince the American people that they're getting the job done before they can try to screw something else up, is kind of my point.